Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment. I only have one question. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Boom. All right. What's up, everybody?
Welcome back, buddy.
All right.
Episode 2.
Episode 2 Redux.
A lot of stuff today, though. Yeah, but it's really episode 2 for them the first time because they don't know what happens.
Yeah, but, we get to make the joke to each other.
Big show with State of Play, Xbox, Summer Games Fest coming up. State of Play was good, yeah. I mean, it's the same reaction, I think. Every time I saw it, you see people like that was the worst State of Play ever. Apparently, like, every State of Play is the worst State of Play ever to some people, but it had good stuff. Some games I didn't know what the hell was going on, but there's like 3 or 4 games that I'm actually really excited for, and one of them isn't even a PlayStation exclusive. It's just going to be like, it was just announced at their platform.
Yeah. Actually, the one that I'm shocked that I thought grabbed so much hype for me was Dynasty Warriors Origins.
I saw that. I didn't know that was going to be out there. I saw that the whole show pretty much leaked earlier.
Yeah.
It leaked around like noontime, like 11 a.m. noontime Eastern, and I didn't know what that game was going to be until I saw the combat, and it was like one guy versus 97,000 people. I'm like, all right, this is obviously Dynasty Warriors because that's all that game was.
But like that's I'm like, there's a little splash. A part of me got excited, and this is an old Xbox franchise, but I got a little excited. I'm like, is this Kingdom Under Fire? Because
that would have been good, but that would have been crazy if they brought that back.
Yeah,
but it's kind of a cool idea to see like how Dynasty Warrior games started. I never thought of that. I mean, it's not something I ever was like, oh, I'd really like to know that. But now that they show it, I'm like, all right, it's cool. It's not like a dumb idea that you never heard of, but I like it.
Right. It's not like I've ever played Dynasty Warriors like, man, what's going to happen next to the Dynasty Warriors story?
Yeah. And I don't think that's PlayStation exclusive either.
No, that'll be on everything.
Yeah, that's always been on Xbox.
Yeah. I think I played Dynasty Warriors 3 for the first time on my buddy's brother's Xbox.
You know what? I was surprised that's been getting a lot of hype because it was announced like a whole year ago, and then we heard nothing about it, and this is PlayStation. It's their first-person shooter, Concord.
Okay.
Because we didn't know what it was.
Right.
Well, I mean, we knew it was a first-person shooter, but I didn't know what it was going to be. And the breakdown trailer, they spent a lot of time. It was a 34-minute show to show 14 games. So like, all right, 2.5 minutes a game, about. And they spent 11 minutes on Concord. They spent 4. I was like, what are we going to... But then the other ones, they zipped through in like 30 seconds. But I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if it was going to be like a Call of Duty shooter, but it's more like it's like Overwatch in space.
Yeah.
If you watched it. 5 versus 5 multiplayer.
I'm going to say, like, when they showed that first trailer, that story trailer, I'm like, dude, this game's going to be fucking tits. I can't wait to play this.
Yeah.
Then they showed what it was.
Looks like a big open world with that vignette at the beginning. It looked like a big open world type of game. There's going to be like big branching story. I'm like, all right. And I don't like first person shooters. I don't play them. I play campaigns. I don't like multiplayer mainly because I'm not a sweat at these games. I'm okay, but I go in and I get wiped. I'll get like 5 and 9 every time, and I'm like a 0.5 KD. I get killed every. So I'd rather play the campaigns.
Yeah,
but I didn't know what that was going to be, and Overwatch in space. The vignette was cool, and the whole concept. I like the concept where I think they said every month there's like about-ish. There's like a new vignette that comes out that continues the story of the game and all that. I'm like, I like that. That was cool, but I don't like that setup, that Overwatch, the Marvel's Rivals, like that, which also came out. We can jump into that too. But I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed which is weird, because like I knew it was a first person shooter. I don't like it. I wanted it to be more, but now that I know it's not, I'm disappointed about a game that I probably wouldn't have been that much into anyway.
So I spent a bunch of time building it up in my head, like is this gonna be some kind of co-op shooter? Is this gonna be something like
Yeah,
a couple of my buddies together? We can go shoot some shit. Like that's what I want. Another
yeah,
Borderlands game. That's really what I want.
yeah.
I don't want it to
Never-
be Borderlands, but I want that co-op experience with my pals.
The funny thing is, out of all, it just goes to show you, um, like what you really need. You don't need vast stories in these games. 400-hour gameplays. Uh, graphics that look like you're controlling a real person with a remote control. Right. The one game that I saw that had the best coverage and the most positive coverage and the most like enthusiastic too, like people were waiting for it, was fucking Astrobot.
Yeah.
That game, that game. I got it as the pack-in on PS5, like everybody did. And the coolest part about that was how you could like do everything with the controller, like literally fucking blow into the controller, and it would like blow the fan in the game. Like that was cool. I liked that. So I
Yeah.
played the game. My kids liked it because it's the cute little characters that are bouncing around. So and it's not too hard to where they're like, all right, it's cute, but they lose interest in 5 fucking minutes because it's too hard. But this one came out. I was like, Jesus Christ, this looks like a full-fledged, like huge game, and it's 6 different galaxies you can go to, 80 levels. And did you see all the things you could change into?
Yeah, dude. Like the game looks insane.
You could change. He changed into a PS5 console.
Yeah.
He changed into Kratos, Parappa the Rapper. He changed into like 10 different video game characters.
Like it feels like
Giant
this is
sponge.
like this is their Little Big Planet type experience because they haven't done anything with Sackboy since Sackboy's Big Adventure, PS5 launch era.
Right. And has Team Asobi done anything since? I don't think they've done. What have they done since? Nothing, right?
Nah.
Or if it is, I missed it. I don't know. I could be wrong. I thought the only thing they did was the first one.
Yeah, they did that. There was like Astrobot's Playroom from the PSVR.
Astro's Playroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the packet one.
Okay, so I'm thinking of another one that was.
Was there a VR one?
Yeah, there was one that was like a pack-in for the PlayStation VR for the first one.
Yeah. You froze, by the way, for a second there.
Okay, is that my?
But
Ah!
you're falling apart over there.
I sure am. Holy shit!
Christ.
So I get for like I rolled out of. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm late. I roll out of bed.
People will watch this and be like, Jesus, what the hell's up with this thing?
Yeah, like it's fine. Like I'm a mess of a human being. It'll buff out.
Another one, like, just to switch up the game styles too with Astrobot. I can't wait for that. That comes out September 6th. I'm actually really excited for that game. But you can pre-order it June 7th. Next week you can pre-order.
Okay.
I'm probably not going to pre-order that game. It's nothing. You don't get anything big for it, so whatever. Plus, I'm turned off for pre-ordering games now, unless it's something like, you're going to buy it anyway. But if you pre-order, you get early access to it. I'll do that, which is something else. Get into later about another topic, but another one that came out is Tipswork Studios' first game, The Ballad of Antara. I don't know if it's Antara or Antar. They didn't really say it. But
let me pull that trailer up real quick.
Why are you pulling it up? I mean, it's their first game, actually. It's the studio's first game. They've never made a game before. Tipswork Studios. And the trailer didn't really show much of a breakdown. It showed you, like, all right, what kind of game it is. It's like that weird type of action adventure role playing game type of thing, and it looked kind of like Genshin-y, right? But they broke it down in full over on the PlayStation blog, and you could see it up there. If everyone goes over to the PlayStation blog, you can see it. We'll get a link to in the description at the end for everybody. But here it is. Check this out.
Wrong button.
Stars. Feuds.
Like, it looks great.
I have seen
Yeah, it's
the
gorgeous.
miracles you so claim.
I mean, at this point, I'm like, all right, what the hell is this game?
Towering shadows
Is this the
vanished
first Souls-like they
into the
showed?
mist.
I pray for their grace, but all that came were inferior shades. Why do we have to bear the consequences of such power?
Like, now this is gameplay and not cinematic, and that looks great.
War,
Right, yeah, it absolutely looks awesome. Just,
Mortality. These essences shall not fall into your treacherous hands. Wayward emissaries, grant us the forgotten miracles. Rain fire from above.
this desolate land.
honestly, I want to know what's up with all these different characters. Are
Yeah,
these all
I
different
did it. I
storylines?
looked, yeah, exactly. I looked it up. After the trailer, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Remember,
Like, this girl, she's basically
no
the
matter
main
what
character in the game.
happens, we
Well,
did not
the
betray
focal
this
point,
world.
not the character you use.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I wanted to, like, that's where it says it's about, like, where I was talking about Genshin
Yeah.
with all the different characters. I look, basically, there's, like, if you looked at first, I saw it looked like a little bit Lords of the Fallen, where the newest one they made, where they went into, like, that different version of the world, right? But
Yeah.
in Lords of the Fallen, remember, there's only one world, and there's, you can go into that other version, whenever you want. You come out at those points. It's kind of the idea, but it's not at the same point. It's an open world, and there's different levels that you go to, like different biomes, like mountains and snow peaks and jungles or whatever you do. But each one of those worlds has their own, like the normal version, and they call it the para version, Para. And basically, there's living world stuff that gets trapped from the name world into that para version by like the invading force of people coming in, and you have to like stop that from happening. But there's the characters. You heard him say emissaries. Those are the characters. Each one has different abilities, different weapons, different storylines that you could do. So that's where it's like Genshin. And it's a free to play game too, by the way.
Is
It's a
it?
single play. Yeah, it's like Genshin, and um, as the game comes out, like every month or so, they said they're going to release like new characters, new zones, and a continuation of the story. Uh, and that girl is basically like the focal point. You have to like protect her to figure out what started these invaders coming into from the fucked up world to the real world. And then you have to figure out, we don't know yet. Obviously, they didn't tell us, but that's the focal point of that game. No,
I mean,
I like it. It looks good.
it looks cool. So did the other. What was it? Ballad of Windsfall.
Yeah. But, oh, and remember, this game it's not just single player. It's single player or multiplayer up to 3 people.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna say
Yeah.
I never thought this would be a complaint I have in the world, but I'm kind of sick of Souls likes.
Yeah, it seems like everything comes out. I mean, I like them, but
Same.
there's such a huge, not huge actually. It's probably the opposite. It's such a very very thin line of where it makes the game fun versus like fun and hard versus like, all right, this is just too insane. It's not even it's not even fun,
Right.
right? And like with parry windows and all that shit, and like the newest one, the other game that came out. Well, actually, for a quick, Ballad of Antar, we don't know when that's coming out yet. It's sometime in 2025.
Okay.
That's what Tipsworks said. But speaking of Souls likes, you'll continue on. Was Where Winds Meet? Did
That's
you see
the
that
one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Everstone Studios makes it. That I think is actually a PlayStation. Yeah, that's a PlayStation exclusive. That looks cool. If you look at it's a total Souls-like game. It's almost more like Sekiro, only because of the sword fighting.
Yeah.
But they changed it up. They made it. They made it like Sekiro combat with like Wolong Fallen Dynasty, if you played that game, with their abilities, because there's different characters that have the Souls like thing, but you can also acquire abilities from animals. Like you could jump like a frog, roar like a lion. You can mimic the skills of animals and use them against other people or other animals. Um, and it's set in the five dynasties and 10 kingdoms era of China, is what they said.
Okay.
And they didn't really announce too much about it. That's coming out. There's no date on that. That's just in development. So that's clearly at least next year.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe even 26, but who knows?
it looks cool. I kind of was hoping I was kind of hoping FromSoft or Blue Point would come out there with something from
Yeah.
a new like, here's Bloodborne 2. I really don't want Bloodborne remake. Bloodborne looks fine.
I don't know why everyone gets so blue balled about Bloodborne. It was boring as shit.
Dude, I like Bloodborne. I don't
It
think
was just
that
boring.
I look I had a good time. It was cool. It was this cool Eldritch horror style Souls-like game.
I played it, and after like 10 minutes of the guy going, "This is the blood, and about the blood, and for the blood, everything's the blood." I couldn't do it.
I
Couldn't do it. I like the other Souls games. I don't know why. Maybe it got too hyped up for me. I don't know what it was.
that might have been it. Like I played Bloodborne day one and just fucking ran with it. I'm like, this is cool as shit.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
And
Speaking of dumb shit, what the fuck was up with that Infinity Nikki game? Can you get that? Can you get that trailer, please?
I get that trailer.
I don't know what this game is. This game looks like something my 9-year-old daughter might play, and it looks so dumb. It's like walking around with like magical dress-up games, and you get like superpowers or some dumb shit from outfits.
All right, we're grabbing the short trailer. This one's only like 2 minutes.
I don't even know if I can stand watching this for another 2 minutes.
Well,
We may have to cut this off.
where is it? There we go.
This game, I was like, Jesus Christ! I'm like, what the hell is this game? Made no sense.
Why you fighting me, Discord?
Ah,
Okay, there we go.
all right, let's go. Let's get this up here.
Momo,
Everybody's gonna laugh and be like, "What the fuck is this
I think
game?"
I was dreaming.
Like,
It wasn't a dream.
dude, when this started out, I'm like, all right, is this gonna be some kind of cool anime platformer? I'm here for that, but then, oh god.
The
I'm
path
sick
of
of
a
it.
stylist
Everything
is
is
never
freaking
easy.
anime dumb shit.
So, are you ready
Some
for it?
Japanese voice where every
Ready.
Japanese girl character sounds like she's 12 years
Ready?
old.
Like, here's the thing that pisses me off about this whole game, is the platforming actually looks really smooth.
I don't know. I don't think there's anything going to be redeemable about this game.
I don't know, if,
You couldn't pay me to play this dumb shit.
you know what? I'd probably play it just for the memes, see what the fuck it is. Cause like, look, it looks like a fucking like molding of old like platformer games from like the late '90s with Pokemon Snap, but you get a anime girl's ass.
Got the trailer up?
Yeah, it's running now.
I don't got it.
No, what the shit?
Hear the screen?
I haven't shared. Let's see here.
It's not popped up like the other one.
Oh, let's go here. No, fucking. Why is it being an asshole? Quit it. Stop being a dick. There we go.
You know what? No one's missing anything, dude. To be honest with you,
All right.
we could probably.
I mean, they'll see it.
Yeah, just go. Yeah, we probably saved you a whole bunch of trouble by not watching this dumb shit. So I'm gonna advise you to not go watch the Infinity Nikki trailer on YouTube because it looks so dumb.
Like I said, the worst part is some things about the game look pretty. Like the platforming looks really solid, and but there's like, here's 2 seconds of combat, which is what I would want, is platforming and combat. Here's a whole bunch of taking pictures of this fucking girl's butt. Like, great.
Dude, I can't talk about combat in a game where it's about a girl walking around playing dress up. I just can't.
Look, I watched Sailor Moon a lot as a kid.
Can't do it. I thought it was a joke game, to be honest with you. I got like no interest in this fucking game.
Dude, my one friend she is all about it. She started messaging like, they're making an actual console game for this, because I guess it's a mobile game.
Is it like a TV show or something?
It was a mobile game.
That's a mobile game.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
It's now it's starting.
So that's all you need to know.
Yeah, now it's all starting to come together.
Yeah. That's why.
But yeah, fucking.
I don't know.
There's that. There's what's the other game that I was thinking? Monster Hunter Wilds, of course, got shown. I know you're not a Monster Hunter fan, but I am.
Yeah, I never got into it though. Like I tried to play, what was it? World.
Yeah.
I played World. I think World was free for a little bit, so I was like, yeah, let me try it. And I couldn't get into it. There was no real. It was just too repetitive, and everything was repetitive too soon. Like, you get an armor, fight a monster, then you have to immediately go get more armor. And I'm like, this is like, it was just boring to me. I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, it's a grindy game. It's a game I boot in, I play with my buddies, we go fuck up a Rathalos, you feel cool, and you move on.
And yeah, I don't mind grindy games either. Like, I'll play Assassin's Creed for hours. I just don't like that. I don't know. Maybe it was just that game. I didn't like it.
Oh, this is close to like the Destiny grind of like, I have to do this X number of times to get this thing so that I can make new weapon, new armor, etc.
Which is weird because I play MMOs all the time, and that's all about grind. And it wasn't the grind because I play games with more grind, so I don't care. But honestly, just the concept of the game, I didn't like.
I get it, like, dude. Honestly, like, it's just one of those things. Like, I didn't like it till a buddy of mine's like, no, we're gonna show you how to play it. Then once I learned how to play, I'm like, oh, this game's actually really fucking cool.
Then they tried to come out, like EA tried to come out with their like knockoff version of that.
Wild Hearts.
What was that game? Yeah, I was like, Jesus, what the hell is this game? That looks stupid. Like spinning umbrellas and like setting up, like just building forts. I'm like, this is dumb as shit.
You're just calling me right out, aren't you? Because I fucking played the hell. I think I wrote the review for App Trigger for that actually.
I don't know. It looks. I saw that and I'm like, all right, the concept sounded cool. It's basically Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm like, all right, what are they going to do to make it different? And then it's almost like they picked like they let like their 8-year-old kid come up with a concept like how to fight monsters with. It's like how like childish the concept was to come up with these like mechanisms and shit.
Dude, the worst part is that game is so much fucking harder than Monster Hunter.
I don't know. I saw it, played. I didn't play it.
Unless you got some friends to play it with you, don't. Honestly, that Monster Hunter is hard on your own if you can tolerate playing with randos, but otherwise, like...
Yeah, I don't even know about the reviews for that. I don't know. Speaking of reviews, have you seen the Hellblade 2 reviews?
I've seen a few of them floating around out there. Let's pull some up.
There's been a few of them. Well, like... I did ours for App Trigger. I gave it perfect. Now, again, I know I said it last episode. I'm finicky when it comes to scores. I hate scores. I hate the fact that people think the average score is 7 when it's not. If you think it's an average game, give it a fucking 5. Average is 5. That's why it's called average. It's right in the middle. Right?
I would say
7 might be the average score games get,
right.
But it's not if it's an average game, it's a 5. And that's why I think a lot of these games are like usually like a 1.5 too high. But Hellblade, especially when it comes to perfect 10s for me, where I look at a game where in order to get a perfect 10, it has to have basically like hardly anything wrong with it, any errors. And it has to be where a game that even if you don't like that genre, you need to play it.
Yeah. That's
a 10. If it's a game where if it's like a fighting game and it does everything awesome, but if you don't like fighting games, you're not going to do it. Other than that, it's great. Then it's a 9 or a 9.5.
Yeah.
Because it can't be a perfect game unless everybody wants to play it. Now, other people disagree. Other people think, well, if it's the best fighting game, it should be a 10. All right, I don't think so. Because it doesn't. A 10 is a perfect game. it might be a great fighting game, but it's not a perfect game in itself, and that's what I think a 10 is reserved.
Yeah, honestly,
That's what I made Hellblade 2.
okay. Like
Like,
I said, I've watched some trailers for it because after you talked about it last week, I just fucking
Yeah.
that game. It looks awesome. It's probably gonna be something I play after I finally finish Rebirth.
yeah, it's not a long game. I mean, it took me 12 hours to get all the achievements and beat the game, and that include it probably would have been like 10 because I couldn't find like the last one, and it was literally at the very end of the game, like right before you walk into the door that triggers like the end of the thing. It's right there, and I thought I went too far because I didn't expect it to be right there. So
Right.
that's the only reason it took me 2 hours. But other than that, like remember, in case, like we'll have the link to the review in the description below on our app trigger. So everybody, make sure you go check that out. But if you haven't played it yet, play it because it improves on everything in the first game. And just to recap it, everything in this game that you control or you see was motion captured in. So everything Senua does, the main character, or any of the other characters do in the game, because it's not just her like the first game. There's like 3 or 4 other characters that you interact with in the game. If they didn't perform it in their motion capture shoots, it's not in the game. So everything Senua did with every sword strike, every kick, every sword, fall, climb, scream, breathing, jump, she did in real life. They didn't like program a computer image to do it. She physically had to do it, and the motion capture scanned her in. The worlds, they filmed it in Iceland with photogrammetry. So the worlds look so real because they are. That's not like a computer image of what like you think Iceland looks like or like an AI generated image. You could go to that exact spot with that picture and be like, this is the exact spot in the game because it's filmed from real world. So that's why it looked so real. And the story compared to the first game, I mean, I'm not going to ruin the end of the story, but the concept of the story, it improves on everything they did in the first game. And the review differences are crazy because everything in this game improves on the first game. So even if you didn't like the first game, your score for the second game should be better. It might still be low, but it might be it has to be low better than the first game because it improves. You can't like not like it. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at this game and some of the reviews are insane. And not only that, dude, the same people that wrote it for the same outlets in their reviews for the second game complain about it. They give it a low score, and they give it a low score because of something to complain about, which is what they loved about it in the first game. Like, just to give you an example, I got like Game Critics, right? The first game I got right here, right in front of me, 95 for the first game. Okay. Hellblade is one of the game industry's few genuine dramas, a dark, uncomfortable experience that makes players suffer alongside its protagonist. By intentionally avoiding the standard power fantasy in their designs, Ninja Theory has shared a light on mental illness and blah, 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 right? Okay, so it's great. The second game, after giving the first game at 95, fucking 45, dude. A 45 for literally the best looking game that's available right now? And their reason, listen to this. Until now, I've liked each new Ninja Theory game more than the last, and I can never deny the craft on display. Now, this is the kicker. Given that this is their first release since the Microsoft acquisition, I credit Hellblade 2 for not feeling compromised by corporate interests, but that only makes it more baffling that it lacks any real vision that I was able to discern. So, you're giving it a 45 because Xbox made it, and you're saying it had no real vision. But you gave the first game a 95 for it having no real vision and avoiding that standard vision you're saying was bad in the second game. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, honestly, I'm pulling on Metacritic now. If you could see it,
I can't.
Why the fuck can't you see this? Like, it's here. So, I mean, I'll show you. I'll tell you what's going on. Like, essentially, I just want to pull it up because I just find it funny. As you're talking about it, I pull it up. I look at it. They both got 81s on Metacritic. Like,
yes.
Which is okay. That's fine. You know, they're both equally good. Whatever. But positive for Senua's Sacrifice, the first one, they got 61. 6 mixed reviews and 1 negative. Where somehow Hellblade 2 has 69 positive, but 20 mixed and 1 negative. So, what the fuck happened?
Now, and I don't want people to get confused here. I don't want the main point isn't the overall score of the game, like the main number that pops up on Metacritic. That's not my main complaint. Because I get it where if you look at the reviews of the first game actually got higher reviews on Xbox than any other platform, than PlayStation.
Which, man, that
Right.
that takes me back, but that's
Now,
side conversation.
the second game, obviously, it's only on Xbox and Steam, so whatever. But my point is the same people that reviewed the game on PlayStation for the first one are now reviewing this game, and of course, it's only on Xbox. And those people are giving the second game lower scores and saying they're giving lower scores because of things that they loved in the first game when it was on PlayStation.
Right.
That's my problem. Those individual reviewers, not the overall review, because I get it's higher. Like, just run through some scores here. I mean, we can't get it up on the screen. That's fine. Just look it up. It's worth playing. Outlet 90 for the first game on PlayStation, 70 for the second, 91 for hobby consoles on PlayStation, 70 for Xbox. I already got into Game Critics, 95 and 45, 90 for Mirror Station, 75 for the second, Washington Post, 80 for the first game, 63 for the second. Like, what else do you want? And my best, GameSpot, 80 for the first game it's a PlayStation review, by the way, 60 on the second. Same girl that wrote it for GameSpot. 7 years apart, same girl. Now, I have her reviews right in front of me. This is not just me making up what she says. People, you can go look up her reviews. Her name is Jessica Cogswell from GameSpot. She did both on, and the date's even here, August 9th of 2017, May 21st, 2024. So almost 7 years apart. The best is if you read her review, dude, it says, at its heart, the first game, the story is about Senua's struggle to come to terms with her illness. In the process, she learns to find the strength within herself to endure and to make peace with her past in a profound physical way. We go through the same struggles with her. I just finished Hellblade. I cannot stress enough how important and well done this game is. All right. And you gave it an 80. Okay. Right. Second one, she gave it a 60. And right off the bat, the very first line in the review, the use of Saga in Hellblade 2 title and Microsoft acquisition of developer Ninja Theory, like, why does that, again, there you go, right off the bat again, right? Following the success of Senua's Sacrifice, it seems as if Hellblade is slated to be a series as well as a staple in Xbox's first-party lineup. That said, I don't exactly understand where the series is headed, if not to the box office. There are plenty of games that prove games can be art, but as some studios lean harder into proving that in one specific way that cribs from Hollywood, we're seeing some games that feel afraid of being games. That's what you just said was so fucking good in the first game. But in 5 sentences, you mentioned Xbox is taking it over 3 times.
So I have both.
Like, come on.
I have both reviews pulled up. It looks like the first one was written by Alessandro Filari for GameSpot, and the second was by Jessica Cogswell.
No, Jessica Cogswell for both. I got them right up on me.
Did they write 2 separate reviews for this?
They probably did. Because she's quoted they're finishing August 9th of 17. And that's just, like, it's crazy. Like, and again, I get there's going to be differences. Like, and I get that you could like the first game and not like the sequel.
Right.
I get that you could hate the first game and like the sequel. I get it. It's always different. That's not the concept I'm saying. The concept is, if you're going to like a game and then the second game takes what you like and improves upon it in every way, it's not logical to say that you now don't like the game and give it a lower score. There has to be something in there. And when every person that does that mentions, like, the Xbox acquisition, like, come on. Like, I don't, like, why do people hate on the fucking games? I play every system. Who cares?
Let's just enjoy things. Like, I don't get it. I don't get why they don't.
And I'm telling you, that's what I think is a big problem that's going to be with, that's going to come from IGN taking over all these buying these outlets
It is. And
that
like,
they did.
while GameSpot isn't IGN, like they're a different thing altogether, you're still talking about just IGN buys those. Now IGN
Yeah.
gets to force their opinions or fire and hire people till they get people that match what they want.
Right, and they already did that. Like, remember, they just in case you guys aren't into it, you haven't read up on it yet. They bought the Gamer Network, and for some price, they didn't say how much it cost, but that network includes GameIndustry.biz, Eurogamer, VG247, Rock Paper Shotgun, Dicebreaker, Digital Foundry, Outside Xbox, Nintendo Life, Push Square, Pure Xbox. So that they're across the board. They own that now, and the main thing they did everyone is they talk about layoffs and bitch about Microsoft laying people off. The first thing they did when
Lay
they
people
bought
off.
this is they laid well, not a lot of people, but the two main people of the two biggest sites. They laid off Brendan Sinclair, who's GameIndustry.biz's managing editor, and Alice Bell from Rock Paper Shotgun. And
What-
now they need someone to run those sites, and they're probably going to have either someone from those sites that is going to be groomed or has the same thinking they do with all their nonsense, or just move someone from IGN over to this site because it's now technically IGN, and it's going to I think it's going to be a huge problem only because we see how IGN is. I get they're big, they're basically, too big to fail at this point. Because it's not just video games. They have entertainment outside all video games,
Yeah.
and television and movies and everywhere. So they're almost too big to fail. But it's this whole mentality of thinking where like everything has to be portrayed. It can't be good unless it's portrayed a certain way, and I have to have like this exact percentage of different people and different backgrounds in games. Like, no, you don't. And if you say that, you get lambasted, and it's like, oh, you're just this horrible fucking person. Like, maybe I just want to play a game about a samurai with an actual fucking samurai.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, and you get lambasted if you don't. And we were talking about this before we came on. The big issue I think what this is going to be is artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And I think that's why IGN did this. Because everyone's like, they don't need to buy these sites. Why? They're so big. That's why. And the reason, like, what do you think on it? Because the reason I think it's going to be AI is because they know AI is the future, which I hate because we're going to get killed by robots pretty soon with AI. And that all these websites sell information to artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
So if you bring up Microsoft Copilot or Google, whatever Google's is, I forget, and you say, show me video game reviews for whatever, it's going to show what they want because now it doesn't matter where it comes from. Maybe before it might have shown something for VG247 first or Rock Paper Shotgun first, but now it doesn't matter because it's all IGN. So they're getting the money from everywhere.
Yeah. Like, I just pulled up a search query of like, where can I find? It was something in Elden Ring. I was looking for a certain weapon in Elden Ring,
Right.
and it just pops up with Google Gemini, and it's like, what the fuck?
Gemini.
Yeah, and then like, so I imagine like we discussed this prior. I firmly believe this is a test run. Hey, you could go to VG247 or Rock Paper Shotgun, and there's a couple authors over there. They're probably really good, but they're just gonna shit out fucking AI articles of everything. Like, that's how angry I was. I spit because I was so mad about the AI articles.
No.
But like, fucking, that's the only thing I can think of is it's either that, or they want to have more voice in the space. 'Cause let's be honest, the average person isn't going to remember, doesn't even know IGN took them over. They don't even, because they don't care. They want to go on. They want to look at
Oh
the
yeah,
review
absolutely.
and run
Yeah,
with it.
yeah. The normal dude isn't going to change. Guy, girl, they're not going to change their job. It's
Right.
not going to be like, oh my god, my world is turned upside down. No, it's going to be this like nothing ever changed to them. But the back end shit,
Yeah.
the stuff that people see, that's where it's going to be huge. I think this is going to be more of a problem Not for IGN, obviously, it's only going to benefit them, unfortunately, money wise. But for the whole like industry as a whole, I think this is going to be fucking horrible. To tell you the truth, I don't think a lot of people realize it because I don't think a lot of people are thinking in terms of AI. I think they just hear like a company buying another company. They're not looking into why. Um, but they're just looking at like from oh, they want more money. Okay, but
Yeah.
how are they going to get more money? And I think AI is huge, and they're going to they sell the data to AI, but they're going to sell what they want to sell in order to manipulate the outlook on things. And that outlook is that horrible view that everyone has now. The bullshit DEI stuff. Everyone has to be a certain way. You can't just have a game like God forbid if you want to have like a game about colonial America and it has like white people in it, like instead of something else. Like that's what took fucking place. Like God forbid I'm a horrible person for wanting a samurai game about an actual Japanese guy and not a
Like,
black dude that was never a fucking samurai in the first place.
my actual like bitch about Assassin's Creed Shadows is that there's a samurai in there to begin with. I have a great samurai game, open world, does everything that Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to do. It's called Ghost of Tsushima. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a ninja. There's a ninja you play, and well, we can't get enough ninja. And, fuck off. You can make a cool ass ninja game open world. Tenchu did it for years. And that was on fucking PS1.
Yeah, I think it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, it's one of those things of like, I'm gonna give it a shot
because their biases are going to come into full effect now.
Mm-hmm.
You're only going to see things this way, and it's going to be like the same thing. You see something enough and you hear it enough, people are going to think it's true, even though it's not.
Yeah,
and that's going to be the problem I think with this coverage for the industry as a whole.
That's the problem with all of it, man. Like, there's so much of this like DEI fucking woke bullshit they've been shoving down our throats for years.
Well, you know what DEI stands for, right?
I know the joke once.
Yeah, didn't earn it.
Yeah. Like, just fucking... Like, dude, a bunch of people bitch about Miles Morales being in the newer Spider-Man games. Fuck yeah, he should be. He's an awesome addition.
But he was a real person in Spider-Man.
Yeah. Also,
so
like...
They made him...
They didn't just shoehorn him in like, oh, here's a random black guy. Burr, 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 burr.
Well, that's the problem. It's like if Peter Parker was the only ever Spider-Man, right? And they just changed it to some random black dude, yeah, that would be different. But he's already a character. They didn't just make up a character. Like, and to be fair about Assassin's Creed, they didn't just make up a character either. They used the basis of a real character, but they changed what he was. That was the problem that we got into last week with that, where he was never really a samurai. He was a retainer, which if people don't know in like current pop culture times was like Game of Thrones' Hand of the King.
Yeah, like, just...
He was a security guard.
Yeah, and like, sure, they actually pick up a katana and cut some people's heads off? Sure. But, honestly, did he go out and do assassinate?
Yeah.
No, that's what Nobunaga had ninja for.
Yeah, it's bullshit. I don't know.
Yeah, they just...
But especially how they hate Xbox mostly. I mean, well, I don't want to say they hate Xbox. They just shit on Xbox more than anything else.
They do. Even if you go all the way back to, like, the OG Xbox PS2 generation,
yeah,
games back then, I don't know if I'd have to find, like, old issues of Game Informer or something, but the Xbox version always had, like, an extra point on it than the PS2 version, because Xbox was the more powerful console. It ran games better.
Yeah.
And granted, it didn't sell like PS2. Granted, no console ever has.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't deny Xbox has earned its place on the market.
That's what I want. That's actually a good segue. I was trying to figure out how to do it. That was a great point with bringing up the old Xbox. I wanted to talk about Xbox. Now, the whole thing with Xbox right now is, after the studios closed and going into, which we got into last week, and the coming up Summer Games Fest, how are they going to make or try to make some of their $69 billion in cash that they just used to acquire Activision back, or make it somehow? And what are they going to do, right? But what's crazy is look at where Microsoft was in 2013 when Xbox One first came out, at the end of the 360 era. I say the end of the 360 era, even though it was out afterwards, because that's when the Xbox One came out. But for I looked into it, the last 48 months, before Xbox One came out. So from 2009, Xbox One I think came out in November, right? So, or September I think. So from 2009 to 2013 for a 48-month period, Xbox 360 outsold PS3 every single month for 48 months.
Yeah.
Now, overall, PS3 still sold more units than Xbox 360, even though Xbox 360 was released a year earlier for the whole unit. So Xbox 360 overall had more sales or less sales, even though it was out a year longer than PS3, which I get. Before anyone jumps into that on me in the comments. But I also understand that that was because of the initial red ring of death that Xbox 360 went through and they fixed it, which everybody knew they fixed it, which is why they outsold PS3 the last 40 years straight.
Well,
So
dude,
I get that.
like 360 was also like Microsoft was fucking cutthroat with their deals for 360 too.
Right. And remember the deal with what's funny about that release is PS3 did the what Xbox One did on their release that everybody hated that PS3 did. Remember when they come out, they were like, they wanted PS3 was like $600
Yep.
on release, and people were complaining about it, and they were like, "Oh, whatever, go buy, work more or something
Yeah.
like that," and tell them like to buy like that. Then it's the same thing that Xbox One did with what's his name,
Uh,
telling people to buy stay with a 360 when they tried to push the all digital too early.
yeah,
Um,
all digital, always on. It had a
yeah,
camera
and
built in, because you always had to have a
yeah,
connect with it.
and that was 11 years ago. Remember,
Right.
12 years ago now. At this point, that was too early, but it was the same thing they did. And the funny part is they lost like 80% of that market share that they had at the end of in an 11-year period, which is crazy to me because every system they've had since then has been more powerful than their counterpart
Yeah.
and also easier to develop. Remember, it wasn't because Xbox 360 wasn't more powerful than
No,
PS3
that was
overall.
actually the one time where Xbox was the weaker console than PlayStation.
Yeah, but it was just it was such a pain in the dick to develop for developers that every developer said they hated for it. So that's why the games they weren't optimized as well because it was too much of a pain to make that Xbox 360 took over. And everyone was like, "Oh, great." And then they released Xbox One or announced it and they announced it with no new games. Like, all right, like they did like Son of Rome and all that stuff and like okay. And that did well. And then when Series X came out and like Xbox One X, there was no games. They started with like these like mini generation consoles, which just fell apart. And Xbox knew they were never going to outsell PlayStation um, consoles on a whole. I
No.
do it if you look at Pepsi and Coke, if you look at sales, right? Number one never has to mention number two. Like you would never see Coke, who sells vastly more than Pepsi, mention Pepsi in the market because they don't have to. They're number one. Pepsi does to compare themselves to Coke because they're number two. They're trying to get ahead. Sony never compares itself to Xbox. Never.
No.
Because they don't have to. They always sell more. But Xbox does in its market itself as better than PlayStation because they have to catch up. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just how you have to do it as number two
Right.
to become number one.
It's Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I think Microsoft is trying to figure out where to go. Because remember, they don't count console sales anymore. They count player engagement.
Right.
Like game year over year from 2023 to 24. Sony was number one in sales, console sales, and number one in revenue. But Xbox was number three in sales because Nintendo sold more units. That it was PS5, Switch, Xbox console in terms of units sold. But
Right.
dollars was Sony number one, Xbox two, and Nintendo three, only because the Xbox costs more than a Nintendo. So even though they sold less, they still were able to leapfrog in terms of overall revenue.
I wonder if that also kind of
So
if the second set of numbers kind of the Series S, where the original set of numbers only counted the X.
well, that's going to be a huge part. Everyone, that's one of the big things that I think we started talking about, but we didn't get into it. I want to see if you remember. And I don't think a lot of people are thinking about this from the, like, to me, the why is always the most important part, not the what. And I say this where, like, to anybody, like, just like life lesson too for people. If you're at your job and you want to know why things are done the way they are, not just what, because your boss knows the why. If he tells you to do something and you're like, hey Joe, do this, and you're like, well, I don't get it, and you don't do it, he knows why. Because think about it, if all of a sudden you take over your job one day, if you don't know why things are done, how are you going to do it?
Right.
Maybe you have to order certain things or do stuff, and that's how your company makes money. You know all the ins and outs. So you have to know why these companies are doing these things to really have like an educated opinion on it. So like, why do you think Microsoft is focusing so much on Series S right now, right? And why do you think Sony is not mad about half their players, which just came out yesterday or 2 days ago? Half their players on the PlayStation base are still on PlayStation 4, which is crazy amount. 5 years later, you're still on the old console,
Dude,
right? And think about that. I think the main reason is because look at how expensive chips are nowadays.
Mhm.
The chips are so expensive now for the newer ones, where remember they lose money on consoles. So they're losing more money on the newer consoles with the more expensive chips. So the less money they lose on console, that's more they profit in game sales. So they don't care if someone's still on Series S or Xbox with Xbox One and One X and One S and the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 4 Pro, because they're still making so much money on those software sales. Until prices go down, they don't care. They're not going to cut off those stores. What do you think?
I'm with you. Like, why would you? Honestly, they just shut down the 360 store. What, like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
Like, honestly, because there's still a ton of people out there playing three. I bet you if you like grab a VPN, link to like Brazil, you could still play. You could still buy 360 games.
yeah. And remember, I think the only reason they they shut it down now is because that's that's the 360 store on the 360,
Right.
not the backward compatibility store. Because almost every 360 game, almost every game, and I say almost because probably at this point Microsoft knows most of the games that people are going to play are already backward compatible, so they can shut the store down because you can buy it off the current Xbox store.
Right.
Doesn't mean you can't buy it at all. So who cares if they shut it down because they're still going to like, get people to play the game.
I still wish that it was like, hey, if you own the disc, you could just put it in your Xbox One and play it. Because I still have to have my 360 hooked up for a couple of games.
Yeah.
But it's whatever. You know, ultimately,
Yeah.
how many people are still playing X-Men Origins Wolverine?
Right.
You know, besides
now,
my dumbass and 3 other people.
what do you like? I segued there for a minute. That's my fault. I went off on the tangent, but well, I mean, I did and I didn't. It was about Xbox and money, but not where I wanted to go with Xbox and money. It's about Game Fest. Sarah Bond's interview the other day was terrible
Oh,
after
dude.
after they shut down the studios, and it is her fault, but it's not. There was really nothing she could do at that point.
The best thing
You know-
she could have done in that interview. Sorry, I'm gonna cut you off there for one
No,
second.
no problem. Go ahead.
But the best thing she could have done in that interview was be like, "Hey, look, we're really sorry. We it sucks. We had to close these studios. We gave great severance packages to the people we laid off. We gave other people jobs at those studios. We gave them
Right.
offers. But ultimately, due to fiscal reasons, it's what had to be done. And that's where you just drop it. Like,
Now,
boop.
it wasn't fiscal reasons though. Now, do you remember? We talked about this last week that Phil has said in the past they've never closed a studio for they call it for P&L. They call it for
Yeah.
profit and loss. Okay. Now people hear that, and of course the gut reaction is going to be, yeah, okay, whatever, right? But I think that's true, and I wasn't sure why. And I was sitting on, and we had talked about it, like where it said Hi-Fi Rush was launched with no marketing, right? They took a chance. It was a great game. People loved it. It got good reviews, but it was no marketing. It was launched on Game Pass, so people didn't have to buy it. I'm sure
Right.
some people did to throw the studios an extra bone on top of the money Microsoft paid them to make it. But even though it was good, how much did it really make? Number one, because it's not just money, and their thing is leadership. Like if the leadership from the studios leave, they don't have that passion for the game anymore, right? And if someone else took over, Hi-Fi Rush, well, it's not going to be as good in their eyes because the people that originally made it aren't there. They don't have the passion to fight for it. They're just going to kind of like run off the reputation of the IP.
Well,
And that's a very valid reason, by the way. I'm not knocking
right. I mean, you also have like Mikami left. Shinji Mikami left Tango Gameworks,
that. Yeah.
and so what else are they going to make? Let's say like
And look who left Arcane Austin. The
Yeah.
people left Arcane Austin.
yeah, they lost their like best people. Hi-Fi Rush. Let's be honest. That was set out to pasture and style of the Sega Saturn,
Right.
and
Which I love, by the way.
I miss Sega. Well, they're still around, but I miss them making consoles.
Right.
But I actually weird thing was like how much Microsoft helped with the Dreamcast, and that's kind of why they got into the console market when Sega dismissed themselves. But that's a side story.
The thing that came out, and I'm glad it came out, I think it was yesterday. My days are all mixed up. It's either yesterday or Wednesday. I can't remember. Of this week, Wednesday or Thursday this week. I didn't even know it came out. I was on X and I was looking and I saw, Microsoft was trending type of thing, and I just didn't know why at the time. So I was looking at it, and it's people like people owe Ben Grubb an apology now for all the news and for the Hi-Fi Rush financial report or the performance report. I was like, oh, what's this? I didn't see about it. It performed nowhere near as well as people thought it did in terms of engagement and the thing. And when I read it, it confirmed what we were talking about, where everything you heard about the game was positive because it was a fun game. I didn't finish it. I got almost up to the end. So I played more than enough to enjoy the game, right? I liked it. It had the whole like Sunset Overdrive type, look to it and feel where you could jump around and move everything. It was a fun game. Everybody that played it liked it. I heard hardly anyone that didn't like the game that was like, this game sucks. So because everybody heard was good, in our heads, we made it seem like it performed better than it did.
Mm-hmm.
But and I'm exaggerating here to prove a point. If only 20 people played the game and you just went around and talked to 20 people, you're going to be like, oh my God, all these 20 people liked it. So many more people had to play it. Well, no, that's what happened.
Right.
Not enough people played it that liked it, even though everyone that played it liked it. Now, here's the thing. And I don't know where this number is for Microsoft. I can't guess. Maybe you can. If everyone that plays a game likes it, but not enough people play it to justify it continuing, and along with people from the studios leaving. Okay, fine. And I guess it's different for every game, but where does that number lie? Where if everyone likes a game, how many of those people need to play it to like it in order to keep it going? Like where's that cutoff point where like, dude, I know everyone likes it, but there's just not enough people here. Like, where's that number? And I don't know, maybe you do. I think the answer lies into like the inner workings of how Game Pass works, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, like it has to, and I don't know what I don't know what the magic number would look like, or I'm guessing it's like a range, but whatever. I don't know what that looks like because Hi-Fi Rush won awards, everything like that.
Yeah,
and it still didn't perform. Which, honestly, I'm gonna say this in kind of an asshole way, but it's a cartoony looking game that's not quite anime, but not quite not anime, and it had this big rhythm thing to it that they were advertising, and it turned a bunch of people off. They're like, this isn't for me.
Mm.
And yeah, of course it didn't perform as well as we'd hope, but that's life, I don't know.
Now, I mean, Xbox is going to need to make money back.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see a lot of that revealed either directly or indirectly at, June 7th, Friday, which is the Game Fest, because we'll see a lot of Xbox games there. Because Jeff Keighley always does that. He does for both platforms. He'll reveal something for like a mini trailer or a mini snippet for an Xbox game or a PlayStation game, and then at the end it'll be expanded upon in like Sony showcase and Xbox's showcase. And then of course the stuff you'll only see in Xbox. But Xbox is gonna need to make money back, right? Of course they want to. They just dropped literally $68.5 billion in fucking cash.
Right.
Right? Sadia took it from underneath his mattress and bought them, so they're gonna need to make this money back. But how are they gonna make money? And I think the best way to do this, and because remember, you have to do it in a way that's not going to piss people off.
Right.
Like when you like Ubisoft, like they're pre-order $130 edition for a game that you never showed gameplay for. Like that pisses people off, right? You can't do that because you're already at like the bad, like with the studios closing.
You're
I know
kind
it's
of
going to
on
be like
people's
2 months,
shit list.
but you will. But the thing is, it's far enough away where it's like 7-8 weeks away now, 2 months away from when they close the studios at the time Games Fest is. But people are going to forget about it. But they kind of like just forgot about it. So now when they see you, it's going to make them think about that
Right.
like right away again. So that they got to keep that in the back of their minds. And in order to do that, they're going to have to do something I think they do with Starfield. Excuse me. For all these Game Pass games. Remember they released Starfield on Game Pass?
Yeah.
It performed great. The number one played game across platforms in September, all on Xbox. I don't know how much it sold because it was free, but it doesn't matter. It was enough to continue it, obviously. But they sold that. You could buy the game, but they sold that mid-range early access tier for $30, where if you paid the $30, you could play the game 5 days early, which is a lot. Usually it's only 3.
Yeah.
And you also get access to the DLC in the future. So if they do that, you could do that with you could do it with now, not every game it's going to be capable of that, but games like Forza, you could play Forza early and get access to like the first DLC Forza pack or something extra. Right. Gears of War, get it early and get access to some multiplayer packs or something. But obviously it would have to be cosmetics because you don't want to fuck around with people and make stuff pay to win, right?
Well, even for Forza,
Avowed.
like
you could do something with Avowed when that comes out.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, and you're forgetting to name the biggest one. Call of Duty. You just once if you slap that on Call of Duty, announce it Sunday at your big showcase. You're like, oh yeah, if you give us $30 extra for Game Pass, you can you can jump in multiplayer a little early. Yeah. And dude, people don't even need to hear that they're getting a bonus. Like early Call of Duty, yeah, and it's like, and that's when you also as Microsoft hit like. Don't forget, if you just buy this $70 controller and have a Samsung TV, you could play it, or a piece of shit Chromebook floating around.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, and I saved Call of Duty for last only because that's like, it's almost like its own entity.
Yeah.
It's like its own like ecosystem. And like, what's weird is, speaking of making money, at first I was wondering if they were going to do this and put Call of Duty on Xbox Game Pass. Day one and everything, because I was like, I don't know. They're going to have to probably because people are expecting it with this acquisition. That's going to be the thing that sets them apart, right? But before they announced it, they were marketing Call of Duty, and it was only Xbox focused. It still is, right? Which is fine because they own the game. But think about it. Actually, just to show you how much money they make out, it's their own ecosystem. The worst rated Call of Duty game ever. Do you know what it was?
It was MW3, the new one.
Yeah, the most recent one. And that game is also the best-selling Call of Duty ever. So that just goes to show people don't give a fuck how good or bad it is. They just want to play it.
Dude, if it says
they'll complain about it.
Yeah, they're going to go online and be like, keyboard warrior mode! And then they're going to play the hell out of it.
Yeah, they're stabbing themselves in the heart and then complaining that they're bleeding on their shirt. That's what Call of Duty fans do because they don't care. They just want to play the game. But in the same way, that Xbox's reason for putting it on Game Pass is justified by those gamers' behaviors. Because if it's the worst rated game and it's made the most fucking money, of course Xbox is going to make money. Think about it. Because before this year, last year's game, they didn't own it. They didn't own Activision yet. Activision made the money.
Right.
So Activision made money from every game, and Sony also got 30% of the sales from the Sony store. Xbox got 30% of the sales from the Microsoft store, and Activision got 70% off every platform.
Right.
So of course they made money. But now, was it 2000? Remember, last year, MW3 sold 21.3 million copies. It was for the whole year. It was only out for 2 months, less than 2 months.
Yeah.
The only game that beat it was Hogwarts, which was awesome, by the way. But that's the only game that beat it. And if it was out the whole year, it probably would have sold more than Hogwarts. But doesn't matter. But 80% of physical sales in the UK were PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Only about 25% of Call of Duty sales are on Xbox, which is crazy. There's some on PC, on Steam, and there's some on PlayStation. But it's like 2/3 to 1/3, or like just about from almost double to triple the sales are on PlayStation compared to Xbox, depending on what game. But it's right around. It's always in that range, double to triple the sales in games and money. Now, if you take 25% to 21 million, you're looking at like 4 million, 5 million copies, right, for the whole year on Xbox. At $70 a game, that's about $200 million. So now let's say nobody buys it more. All those people play on Xbox. Every single one of them plays it for free on Game Pass.
Yeah.
How are you going to make up that $200 million? Okay, let's look at Game Pass subs. At $17 a sub for Game Pass Ultimate, which you need to play online, you can't use the normal one. That comes out to be about 9 million subs. 9 to 10 million, right around that range. Okay. Right now, Xbox only has 35 million subs. That's a huge jump. You're looking at a 33% jump. There's no way they're going to get that much. But that's just to make up the Xbox sales version of it. They don't really need. Think about it. They could make not a single extra sub and lose that $200 million. Like, shit, we just lost $200 million. No, you didn't. Because you just got 70% of the sales from Steam version, from PC version, from the PlayStation Store version, which has triple the players for you. So if you have triple the players from PlayStation, make 70% of the sales, you're making triple the money you lost.
Yeah.
So not only are you making back what you lost, you're making profit. And that's with not a single person buying anything on Xbox, which is not going to happen.
Right, because you're not even getting the battle pass, the fucking skins, all that stuff.
Right.
Which, dude, honestly, like, honest to God, if Xbox wanted to make a big push for Call of Duty to make them a lot of money, just all you gotta do is just keep pushing on Game Pass. People are going to migrate to Xbox. If you push, hey, Call of Duty this year comes out 10 days early for Game Pass subscribers, 15 days if you pay this extra money.
Oh, that'd be huge.
Dude, people will start trading in PlayStations.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Because you could crossplay now.
Yeah.
And Xbox remember, Xbox started on Call of Duty started on Xbox. It didn't really go away. Xbox let the marketing go when Halo 4 came out.
Yeah.
That's when Sony bought the marketing because they were focusing on Halo, which is fine. But I always say, like, the OG Call of Duty fans were like Xbox because, like, dude, I played. You remember the 360 lobbies, dude? You couldn't get a word in. It was horrible.
Oh yeah, dude,
like you would like have kids crying nowadays when if they played in the Xbox 360 lobby day.
Oh man, I still maintain, like, I think the worst lobby experience was Halo 2, because Xbox 360 you can still go to party chat. Like, you could get away. It's like, me and my friends are going to go to a party. Where Halo 2 is like, you want to talk to your friends, communicate with them. You had the game on.
You couldn't do it.
Dude.
Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, dude, fucking, I learned that. I think that's where I learned to trash talk.
Oh, absolutely.
But, like,
yeah, they're going to have to do that, dude. With 10 days is too much. I don't think they do 10 days. The most I've seen is 5, and that was for Starfield. Because that was such an anticipated game. So they'll probably stick with 5 if they do it.
I was saying, like, 10 days early for Xbox players. Not like you buy the extra, like, you play 10 days before PlayStation, before PC for being on an Xbox.
I don't know. I don't know if they do it. I mean,
I don't
well,
think they
remember,
do.
if, for 10 days too much. Actually, I said 5. That's for the full game. The most I've seen ever was 7, and that was when the betas would be out, where
Okay.
you would get the betas for PlayStation players could play the betas early, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, one weekend,
Yeah.
and then the next weekend it would be open to all PlayStation players, but only a few Xbox players. So they would have it like a week before. But that wasn't for the full game. That was just for the beta. But the longest I've ever seen was 5 days for Starfield. And I think they have to put it early access, something like that. Well, I mean, they know better than I do, obviously. I don't want to say
Right.
have to. I think they should. And if they do it, it would only make more money because everyone that's going to play on Xbox would most likely throw in $25 for a game that they're now going to get for free because they're like, fuck it. I don't have to pay $70 for a game.
Yeah.
I was going to play the game anyway. I was
Shit.
going to buy the game anyway at $70, but now I get it for free. So why wouldn't I spend 25, still save 50 instead of 70 when I'm getting the game for free
Hell,
and I get to play it early and this extra shit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not fucking do it?
right. I'm that fucking asshole. I'll be right there. Like, here's my money, Call of Duty. Let's play. I want to shoot some fuckers.
Yeah. They'd make so much money hand over fist. And like, you're right. People would probably, again, I don't know if they would necessarily give in their PlayStation, but let's be honest. Most people nowadays have more than one system. I mean, I know you do. I just don't have PC. I have every console. Most people do, only because of the whole exclusive thing.
Yep.
But they tend to stick with one console over the other for multiplayer games for whatever, and that's fine. But, maybe their friend only has one system, so they play on it with them or whatever. But if you have someone that plays both and they have a choice, I mean, what would you do? It's cross play, so you can play with anybody on any platform. So I have a choice to pay $70 on PlayStation, or I could get it for free on Xbox and save $70, or save $50 and pay $25 and get it early, plus all this extra couple, cosmetic skins to play. And by the way, I'm playing it 5 days early, and these guys are going to play and get up to like max level fucking whatever they're going to get up to, before PlayStation players even get to boot up the game.
Honestly, I think you pay the $25, you get the deluxe edition of the game, which is usually like the 3 days early version of the game, anyways.
Yeah, even 3 days would be enough. 5 days might be a lot. 3 days would be enough. Even if it's just for campaign. Especially this new one with the Gulf War. People are going to be cool because you got everybody in it. You got Clinton, Bush, Saddam Hussein.
Like, dude, that trailer. I can't wait to see like actual campaign footage. I don't play Call of Duty campaigns all that often, but this one will be one I play through.
Yeah, it depends on the campaign for me. Like first person games, like I said, like Titanfall 2, I loved it. That was the best. Battlefield Hardline was awesome. This game I'm gonna play. I like the last Call of Duty with Reagan when he was in it. That was cool.
Yeah.
Just because Reagan was in it. And this one I'll play. Just because I like how it's got everybody. It's got Clinton, Bush, Saddam Hussein, Margaret Thatcher. It's got everybody in it.
Yeah, like can't wait.
But yeah, I think they're gonna have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
But
there's no way.
What do you think they could do with other games? Like, what do you like for early access games, like stuff like that, like they did with Starfield, $25 early access for whatever. What are some other things they could try to do to make some money here?
Honestly, like Forza, just hey, buy the deluxe edition, you get 3-5 days early to play.
Right.
You get that first car pack, or you get like 1,000 Forza bucks, whatever. Fucking Gears. Hey, here's just start offering people the deluxe edition to play early on Game Pass for the difference in price you pay between the base edition and the fucking deluxe.
So if a regular game is 70 and a deluxe edition is 90,
yeah,
give it to them for 20 and let them play early.
Yep, because that's usually what they did anyways. If you bought Call of Duty's $100 edition, you got 3 days early, and dude.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, think of it.
You're not losing any money.
Yeah,
they're not losing money doing that. The base game's free anyway.
Yeah, and fucking like, dude, standing at GameStop, I used to do 2 launches for that shit because there was the early release launch, which was packed to the fucking bone, and then there was the base game launch, which was again packed to the bone. The only game that sold more than that was NBA 2K at my store personally, because I worked at a store in the hood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, it is what it is. People play what they play. So.
Yeah, dude. And like, I don't know. There's a couple sports games out there I really like. I play the show. I play NHL, but nah.
Last sports game I really played was PGA Tour.
Last one I like really played was like NFL Blitz.
That's old.
It is.
That was a good game though.
Oh, dude, fucking dude, the amount of old games I still sit around and play. That's why I can't finish new shit, because I'm like, well, I'm just gonna boot up my PS2 for like 6 hours.
Yeah. What is now not just Xbox centric, because like I want to end this on not just Xbox related, but I mean it could be Xbox, but it could be Nintendo, PlayStation, PC, whatever.
Yeah.
Coming into like Summer Games Fest with like all these guys, Ubisoft, whoever it is, right? Any platform, any game maker. Excuse me. What are like one thing you're like, dude, like, this is what I'm really excited for. I really would want to see, coming in. And it could be anything, game, platform, whatever.
Do you want me to go pie in the sky, or you want me to go grounded?
Well, pie in the sky is kind of like don't do something that is not going to come, because then it's just wish like it's not going to come. Like something that has like some realistic expectation.
So, semi-realistic is I'd love to see some shit for Metal Gear Solid Delta. I'd love to see preferably a release date, some gameplay. Because MGS is my favorite game series. 3 is amazing. I'd love to see it.
Sam Fisher would kill Solid Snake, by the way. Just saying.
It go either way.
Not even a fight.
Look, if they get into a CQC battle, it depends on which Solid Snake. Solid Snake or Big Boss? Because CQC, I think Big Boss takes it.
I have 3 that I can't really decide from. Well, not such you. My most is Gear 6, which at this point it's been revealed that they're going to show. Because I love Gears. To me, I think Gears is a better story than Halo, Xbox related. I know people get like bent about that because Halo's been around longer, but whatever. I just like the story better.
I would disagree with you up to the original.
I know a lot of people do.
Well, like
I know a lot of people do.
Up to Reach, I'll be like, nah, no way. But now, yeah, they took Halo too far.
I want to see how they're going to end it, especially after 5, with everything. And Kate's character, I love with JD going to be back. I want to see how they're going to do it. My other 2 that I'm really looking forward to. Fable, I'd like, but I'm sure that's going to come anyway. I'm excited for that, but nothing like I really need to see it. The other 2 things that I want to see are Kojima's game with Jordan Peele for Xbox, that horror game that they're making. We don't know anything about it. We just saw that stupid little close-up image of that lady at the Game Awards. That I'm curious to see what they're going to do, just because we don't know how it's set up.
Mm-hmm.
First person, what's it gonna be? I don't know anything about it yet. That, and I want to see Splinter Cell.
Oh, dude, I'd kill to see a new Splinter Cell. Like those
are the 3 I really want to see. And it's really like Gears 1 with Splinter Cell and Kojima's game, like 1A and B, like just underneath it, not like 2 and 3.
Like, dude, I'd love to see Kojima's game. I think that if Kojima puts anything out, though, it's gonna show more Death Stranding 2, because they already showed some gameplay for it.
Yeah.
Now, ideally, they could probably be working on. He's probably working on both at the same time because he's a fucking lunatic. But ultimately, I'd love to see a new Splinter Cell. Love to see some Fable, but at this point, Fable, it's never releasing. That's just my opinion on it.
No, we'll get some. They have to.
It'll release when it releases, so I'm just gonna keep telling myself it's never coming out to make so that way I can sleep at night.
We'll see. We're gonna see something though.
We're
gonna see. We have to. It's like mandatory at this point.
I'm hoping we see like a And it's coming out in September. First day on day one Game Pass.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, it's definitely Game Pass, but
Like
day one.
I'd also love to see a release date for Hollow Knight Silk Song because that's been in development
Nah.
for fucking ever.
I'm not a Hollow Knight fan. Never got into it.
Dude, just Metroidvanias hold a
I'm
really
not
special.
that much of a sadist.
Man,
Okay. Which is weird because I play like Souls-like games, but that
Yeah.
I just
look, I played Street Fighter 2 the other day. You want to talk about some fucking sadist shit? Like just
actually, one more game that's actually kind of fell off, which was I played it because it was on Game Pass too. But the DLC and the sequel that they announced is not going to be is Lies of P. Did you play that game?
dude, that game was cool as shit.
I played it. It was good. And the funny thing was, there's a lot of like um Fable, not Fable the game, but like about Fables, like character games in it, where
Yeah.
like not for in case no one's played it, like the ending. I don't know if that's going to be the sequel. The character that they revealed in the ending is going to be the sequel or the DLC. I don't know. They are making both now. Um, but like at the end of the cutscene, when you see that character walk out and they say her name, well, whatever. But I don't know if that's going to be DLC or the sequel. But the game was good. It was set up. Um, the parry window for the Souls like wasn't like microseconds. It was really it was like it was forgiving. You could play it. You didn't take a crazy amount of chip damage if you just blocked instead of parrying. And it was a good setup. I like the upgrade system, the way they did it with how you could do the weapons and everything. So I'm excited to see what they announce first. Obviously, the DLC would have to come first, I would
Right.
think. Which would probably get DLC later this year and sequel next year. Would
Probably.
make sense.
Or DLC
But-
later this year, couple years for the sequel. Like we'll see the sequel's gameplay next year, and then
Yeah.
2026 we'll see the release.
So yeah, it depends how much it depends. But that game is that game's good. I'd like to see that game too. And if I don't, whatever. But
yeah,
we might hear about that later on. But that's something that would be nice to see.
I'm trying to think what. There's a couple other games I'd really love. I'd love to see what EA is doing with Iron Man. I'd love to see some of that gameplay, but I imagine it's just Anthem with an Iron Man suit.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I don't know. I think we got into this last week with the Marvel games.
Yeah.
And like Black Panther's coming out. I don't even know what kind of game Black Panther's going to be.
Yeah, dude.
But I'm not into it. Like I watch every Marvel movie. I watch every Marvel show. I still do it. My son and I, it's our thing. We go together. He's 15.
Yeah.
We go watch a movie together. That's our thing. But even though I watched them all, like the excitement for them, it ended after Endgame for me.
They kind of
Like all those characters.
Well, they kind of taint it by not even by getting rid of Captain America and Iron Man, but just by like, okay, well, they did this. There was no gap. There's no good like in between this arc and that arc.
He's been gone 5 years.
Yeah, they still can't fucking. They can't
that game should have come out at like 6 years ago.
I'm
at the
okay.
heart of it.
I'm okay with Iron Man coming out now, especially if it's like Insomniac Spider-Man, where it's just totally different universe, totally different thing. You're just playing Iron Man from Marvel Universe 3281, whatever,
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I mean, I'll check it out. I just
like
I'm neither here nor there. There's no. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm indifferent.
Honestly,
both those games.
I'll be incredibly hype or disappointed based on when they show gameplay. That's literally where I'm at with it. I'd like to see it so I know how to feel.
Yeah. I mean, when I see it, I mean, you'll probably tell me if you're the same way. When I see it, I'm going to be like, it's either going to me, when I see it, it's going to be, yeah, this is why I don't really care about the game. Like, it doesn't look good at all. Or it's going to be, yeah, right, it looks cool, but, maybe I'll play it if I get around to it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to me that's going to be like, oh my God, I have to play this game because even if it's good, it's been too long since they've been like, out in the movies in like 6 years now, 5 years, 6 years, that it's not really like a thing to me. Even Marvel's Avengers with Square Enix, that came out a year after in 2020. And to me, that game was dead already because I'm like, well, it's like this game should have come out a couple of years ago.
That game should not have been the fucking live service game. Like,
no, that game sucked.
There's so many problems. You know what sucks, actually? The worst part is, I really like the gameplay of that game. Like, the basic, like, the way that game feels to play, feels good. everything around it though, like all the
I mean,
shit.
I like the story with how Captain America was not dead. He's in the fucking spaceship or
yeah,
whatever it was.
I thought it was a cool story. The gameplay was solid, but like the problem was like
And if anyone gets pissed about me spoiling that game, I don't give a shit. The game's 4 years old. Get over
fucking. Oh, also you're not even spoiling the ending. Like you're spoiling like the
Yeah.
halfway point.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
But yeah, like
But we got to see, man. We should do a live for one of the shows. We got to
should.
pick
We
one of
did.
the shows.
we definitely should. I mean,
I would
fuck,
probably the Xbox one, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Xbox is Sunday at 1. I think we should do that. Most
Okay.
likely. We'll let everybody know. We'll get it out on X. And again, make sure everybody follow us on X, Logical Game Show, Michael Bacher, Legend Hero, 2 E's and Hero over on X. Make sure you hit subscribe on Rumble. We're going to be going live soon as well. And we're going to have the description and a link to the Hellblade review, our Hellblade review on Xbox that I wrote for App Trigger. That's going to be down in the thing below. So make sure you take a look over on that. And let us know what you want, any topics you want us to discuss. Hit us in the comments, message us on X, let us know. We're going to be getting a YouTube channel up as well soon. So let us know what you think and what you want us to go on that.
Yeah, other than that, like I think the only other thing I have is nothing. I think we kind of talked about everything. We'll see what the next week brings. Yeah.
And for everybody who doesn't sub, deuces for you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, if you don't hit follow,
Deuces.
you're gay.
Deuces.
All right, see you, man.
All right, later, bro. Next time, everybody.
Yep, that's it.